I'm going to say this again. You deserve to be well loved. And it has to start with you. Nobody else, with you. Maybe you've been through a bad breakup. Maybe after the breakup, you felt like, oh, why wouldn't he love me? Why did the relationship have to end? Maybe you did some self blaming. Okay. Maybe you got fired from a job and you felt like everybody did you wrong. It wasn't right. They hated on you, whatever. The point is, we have to get to the point where we love ourselves more than anybody else can love us. This month, we are engaging in a radical love affair with ourselves. With ourselves. This is the month of me, and we are on day 2. And so we're going to really get into how to make sure that you are loving yourself well, how to make sure that you are showing up for yourself, and how to really make sure that you're living the life of your dreams. We're bringing all main character energy. We're not putting other people before us. We are taking care of us. So whether you had a bad breakup, whether you got fired, whether you feel like you need to go on to another job, here's the thing. What we have to do, what we have to do, we got to stop trying to prove to other people that we're successful. We got to stop doing things so that other people will think something in particular about us. We got to stop trying to prove that we have money. We got to stop trying to prove that we're not broke. We got to stop trying to prove that we're smart. We got to stop trying to prove that we're doing good. So we want other people to view us as these things. Some of us maybe went through a divorce and we feel like that divorce, we're going to show them, we're going to show our ex-spouse and let him or her know the good thing that they're now missing. Notice how a lot of times we'll lose all of the weight, we'll get ourselves together, we'll look the best that we've ever looked, and many times it's in hopes that he'll see what he missed. He will notice what he missed. He's going to regret not treating me well. Well, guess what? We got to learn to treat ourselves well. We got to learn to love ourselves well. And the way that we treat and show other people how we love ourselves, that's how other people will treat and love on us. So we got to stop trying to go backwards and fix the past as well. You had a messed up relationship, you want to try to go back and apologize and try to make things right. You and a good friend, your relationship broke up, y'all ended the friendship, and you feel like the adult thing to do is to go back and apologize. You know what? That's good in some instances. But I know that for many of us, we are overthinkers. We play things through our heads 1,000 times. We make things that are really small seem really big. And we just overthink, we overdo things. The person is gone on about their business. They're no longer even thinking about this. But because we're still thinking about it, we feel like we have to do something about it. I want us to really stop and think for a minute and answer these questions truthfully. Do you find that you're too serious? Do people take you as a very serious person? Do you feel like, or do people respond to you like you are always super serious? Are you always in your head? Like, are you always in your own head, running scenarios through, thinking about stuff, overthinking stuff, analyzing stuff, trying to make sure you get it right, not wanting to make a mistake? Or perhaps you're that person that's always cutting people out of your life. Somebody does something to you, you're done, you cut them out there. People are disposable. Are you that person? You are you that person who will throw people away? And just answer the question truthfully. Don't think about what this might say about you. Just answer the question truthfully. Or this is another thing. Maybe you are that person who is always really kind, who is always really nice, who is always available. And because you are super nice and super kind, people tend to walk over you. People tend to walk over you. Or maybe you're that person, and I'm just saying, I'm just giving scenarios, and you just got to get in where you fit in. that you always want to fix people. You find yourself engaging in relationships where people need to be fixed and you feel like you can help them. You can help them. Maybe it's the person who hasn't had a job and you decide that you're going to befriend them and you're going to help them to get a job. And a lot of times this goes over into our intimate relationships as well. Maybe, maybe you're that person who sees a guy and you're attracted to him, but you don't realize that the attraction is that you're able to help him. Or maybe here's one that you might relate to. Maybe that person in school who was always mean and who was always bullying, and you said to yourself, I'm gonna be her friend. I'm gonna be her friend. You thought you could change her. You thought that because you were really nice and that you were going to treat her well, that she wouldn't be mean anymore. She wouldn't be a bully anymore. You thought she wasn't gonna mistreat you. So I want us to think about, like, what type of person are we? What is it that we're doing? And why do we do those things? And is it because we're loving ourselves at a deep level? Or is it because we have some things that we ourselves need to work on? And because we haven't worked on those things, they keep showing up in different ways. In order to love yourself well, you got to love all parts of you, the good and the bad. The good and the bad. I know that's a hard one to swallow. But we got to accept our flaws, be okay with our flaws. That doesn't mean that we can never fix it or work on any of those things, because a lot of those things come from hurt that we've had and healing that we need to do. But all I'm saying is you got to love it anyway. You got to love the good with the bad. Just like your spouse, just like all things, like your work. You may have loved your work, but now you don't. We love the good with the bad. I love the work I did. I didn't always love the people I worked with. So I love the good with the bad. And it's the same thing for yourself. In order for you to be well loved, you have to love yourself at the highest level. And so the thing that I want to share with us today is that you're allowed to be human. You're allowed to be human. All right, Enrichment. She says, ding dong, Dr. D and crew. Hello. So you are allowed to be human. But what we got to do, we have to stop viewing ourselves through other people's eyes. That's where the people pleasing comes in. That's where the playing small comes in. That's when we're worried about what other people are going to say and how people are going to judge us and what they're going to think. And also, if we think about it, a lot of times when we do self-care, it's out of anger. I've been working all month and I'm tired. I need a massage. You needed the massage beforehand. And so self-care should not be a reaction. It shouldn't be a reaction. It should be pre-planned because you love yourself, because you care about yourself. We do things out of anger and out of frustration, and we call it self-care. I want us to get to the next level and care for our souls. Let's do some soul care. Let's be concerned about how we are connecting with our inner self, with our inner spirit. And what does it need to be the version that it needs to be to live the life that you want to live? We got to stop viewing ourselves through the eyes of other people. We got to stop trying to live up to what our moms wanted us to be and what our siblings have done and comparing ourselves to other people. So today I want us to really evaluate how we can go deeper inside and get out of the habit of trying to prove things to other people. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. This requires us to be vulnerable. Don't worry, I got 20 opportunities for you that I'm gonna share with you. So I got some stuff for you. But we gotta understand why we gotta do this in order to get to those things, or you'll just do those things and they won't have any impact because you were doing it in a hollow hole. And so we gotta do the work. And that requires you not to be defending. Think about how much of your time you spend defending yourself. This is an issue that high achievers have. We often feel the need to defend ourselves. This month, I want you to let people think what they're going to think. You heard me. Let people think what they're going to think. Let people say what they're going to say. Let people feel how they're going to feel. And it's not your job to try to defend yourself. It's not your job to try to make a point. It's not your job to try to help them to understand. I want you to focus only on you, not on other people. I want you to love yourself, and I want you to listen to yourself. And let me tell you what's going to happen when you do that. You're going to get some divine messages. You're going to get some divine downloads. You're going to get some information and some inputs at a level you've never received before. Some of them are going to take you further in your finances. Some of them are going to take you to a different level in your career. Some of them are going to change and improve relationships that you're in. You're going to gain social capital. Listen to me. When you love yourself and listen to yourself at a deeper level, you are able to receive and download the divine messages that have always been intended for you, but you had not been able to receive them because you were so busy trying to prove stuff to other people, trying to not be judged, trying to make people think what you wanted them to think and see you the way you wanted them to see you. We got to stop wanting people to see us a certain way. We want them to see us as the responsible one. We want people to see us as the successful one. We want people to see us as the one that's doing good. We got to stop that. And a part of that means that we got to take ownership of the role that we played in this. We played a role in this. We're not victims. We're not victims. We played a role in this. It's a reason why we can't love ourselves at the level that we need to demonstrate to our children, to demonstrate to our spouses, and to demonstrate to anybody who comes in contact with us how we should be handled. How we should be handled. And we also have to accept, here go the kicker, y'all. Here go the kicker. We also got to accept that some people will never know the healed version of you. It's okay. Let me expand on that. So you're going to do some work this month. You're going to love yourself at a different level. You're going to go deep inside. You're going to do some healing. You're going to do some learning. You're going to do some loving like you've never done before. And that's going to create some growth. That's going to create some boundaries. That's going to create a different version of you. Well, now you're going to have to be okay. Well, some people will never get to know this version of you because as you move, you're going to lose some people. Some people are going to still want to keep you as the person that you were 20 years ago. When you see somebody who you went to school with, they remember you of how you were in high school. They don't know how you've grown. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know how you have developed in a different way. When people meet me now, they're getting 10 revised versions of me from when they went to high school with me. When you went to high school with me, baby, we joned in high school, and I've always been an English teacher, an English a person who reads a lot. So I have a vocabulary. I don't use it on here because I'm past that. But baby, I will Joan on you. I will pick the thing that you don't want to talk about, and I will go in. That was back then. So those people who went to high school with me, they know Chanel was a mess. Chanel will Joan on you. Chanel will talk about you. Chanel will blah, blah, blah. That was her back then. And I don't let them hold me captive to that person who I used to be. That was 30, 40 years ago. What are we talking about? I've grown. I've developed. I'm a different person. I didn't know any better back then. That's who I was, but I own it. I own my part in it. I own my part in why some people who went to high school with me may see me and may not speak. I wouldn't speak to me either. I wouldn't speak to me either. Own your part in your stuff. Some of us, we've been through divorces. Own your part in your situation. I know people right now who are super nice. People walk over them like they're a dog mat. They ask them to do stuff, never show up for them. You're too nice, but you're being nice in order to try to keep people with you. You think that by doing what it is they want you to do, by showing up for everybody else, that's going to make them like you more. That's not true. That's not true. What we need to understand, and this is a point that I want to make sure that I kind of hone in on, is that she said accountability. I love it, Dr. D, for girl, full transparency. Look here, because I'm telling you that this is how we heal, and we don't let people hold us back there where we used to be. Some people don't want to be the villain. I talk about this all the time. Some people don't want to be the villain. You want to be the nice person. You want to be the person that everybody loves. I like being the person that people love. I love that my nieces and nephews absolutely adore me. But I also understand that sometimes I'm going to be the villain. You're going to be the villain in somebody's story. But here's the thing. This is what I always want y'all to remember, because society has taught us that you shouldn't be the villain. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing to be the villain, but I want you to understand that the villain has a story too. Every time you watch them superheroes and all those movies on TV, they were programming us to believe that you should always be the hero, and that the hero gets a pass on all the stuff that they do. So when you think about any superhero movie, any movie that you watch, there's always a hero or a protagonist in the movie, and there's always an antagonist. That's what makes a movie. And so I really want you to think about, what did the protagonist do and what did the antagonist do? They never tell the antagonist story. They never tell the antagonist story. They only tell you about the protagonist. He was trying to make ends meet, and then this man showed up and robbed him. Yeah, but why did the man rob him? What's the villain story? And I think that the perfect example of this, I really do. I think that the perfect example of this is John Wick. Have y'all seen John Wick? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Four part series right now. And I think it's a fifth part coming out. But John Wick, they never give you the full story of what really happened. You get the first 5 minutes and you get to see what kind of happened. And then all you see is him being vengeful, him retaliating, him fighting, him killing. You don't get to understand what the villain's story was. So they don't explain in detail that his wife was dying and she gave him a dog. And she gave him this dog to love because she knew that she was finna die. She also gave him, I think it was a 67 Mustang, his favorite car, to occupy his time as she transitions into her next phase of her life. And then somebody broke in, killed his dog, and stole his car. And y'all thought that John Wick, who was one of the best hitmen in the world, was just gonna sit back and say, "I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna forgive him." That's not the way that works, people. He the villain. I'm not saying that what he did was right. I want you to think about what the villain story was, but do they talk about how they stole that man's dog and stole his car and broke into his house and tried to kill him? They don't talk about that. All you see are the violent scenes, but there's a psychology behind that. The other thing that I want to point out with John Wick is he was also a legendary hitman. See, a lot of y'all are legendary in your own right, not in the killing space, but in the school system. You've done some things. You've done some things in your family. You've done some things amongst your friend group. You are legendary. You don't think about yourself as legendary. And then some people, just like with John Wick, they want bragging rights for bringing you down. They want the bragging rights for bringing you down. They want to be able to say, yeah, she ain't at that level no more. She been brought down. Just like with John Wick, the reason why people was trying to kill him was because he was a legendary hitman. And if they kill him, they get bragging rights. They get to be the one that say, I killed John Wick. It's a lot of y'all who are in these toxic relationships right now. You got friends who waiting for your fall. They waiting on your fall. You don't even realize that you're gonna be the villain in somebody's story. And we got to get into the habit of being okay with that. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you. They are committed to taking your words and turning them into something different. Some people are committed to making sure that whatever it is that you're trying to convey, they're going to turn it into something else. And what am I saying to you? Be okay with it. Sis, be okay with it. Stop trying to defend yourself. People who know you, they know your character. They know your character. They know what it is you do. They know how it is you show up. Be okay with it. Stop trying to defend. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop trying to prove to other people that you are the person that you say you are. Stop. That takes too much energy. And it brings in the wrong energy. It takes you out of alignment. What am I telling you to do? I'm telling you to love yourself. I'm telling you to have a radical love affair with yourself. If you're busy having a radical love affair with yourself and showing other people how you love you, they will already know that you're not engaging in that toxic behavior. You're not allowing that to impact your day. You're not going to allow that to interfere in the love affair that you are having with yourself. So we got to get out of the environment of people who are not committed to growth. We can't keep hanging out in these circles where the people have been the same for the past 5, 10 years. They still behave the same, still think the same, still believe the same thing. They still go to the corner tavern every month. They still going skating at the skating rink every Saturday night, just like they did when they was 20. Eating workout said good stuff. Right. She say that's good stuff. So I want us to understand, like, people who are victims, we got to move away from them because we are people who take control of our lives. We're people who take control of our lives. We own our mess. We own our responsibility and we move on. We cannot keep going back to the past, trying to prove to people that we are what we say that we are. We cannot keep defending. We cannot keep trying to make people think we are this way. Just be the way that you are and don't worry about what it is that they're thinking. That's my advice to you, because I know that many of us, we're the one who's doing the thing in our family. We're the ones who got married while nobody else got married. And so it's some people waiting on your marriage to end. And guess what? Your marriage might end. But guess what? Guess what? That don't make you a horrible person. Things come to an end. Everything wasn't meant to be forever. It's okay. Maybe you took the job and you wanted the job when you got it, but now that you're in the job, you changed your mind. Sis, you get the right to change your mind. I'm here to tell you, like, stop thinking that you got to stick with the decision that you made. Stop thinking that. Stop thinking that I got to prove to you that I'm a good mom. I got to prove that I'm a good teacher. I got to prove that I'm all of these things. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. All you have to do is go deeper within yourself, do the things that bring you joy. Let people know by your actions, not by your words, what's important to you, by the values, and set boundaries. You got to set the boundaries that you need. You don't have to keep trying to prove I'm a good teacher, I'm a good daughter, I'm a good sister, I'm all of these things. You don't have to keep doing that. We're setting up new rules. It's new rules in 2024. We're not doing that. We're not going to make ourselves captive to what other people believe and sit in this judgment that other people have of us. We are taking the month of May to go deeper inside of ourselves, to figure out what is it that we really love, and to have some fun. When was the last time you really had fun? When was the last time that you just got to be free? You didn't have to think about 1,000 things. You didn't have to create schedules. You didn't have to cook meals. You didn't have to try to program your day in your head as soon as your eyes opened. Like, when was the last time? When was the last time that you really took time for you to get in tune with what it is you really love? What are the hobbies that you do? And some people don't understand. When I say a hobby, that means that you do it on a regular basis, not once or twice a year. A hobby is something that you do every week, every other week, at least once a month, that brings you nothing but sheer joy. It's not meant for anybody else. It's meant for only you. What new experiences have you tried to allow yourself to experience new things and to open up other parts of you that you were not even sure were there? When was the last time you just had some sheer enjoyment and some fun? And it doesn't necessarily need to be with anybody else. So I'm going to give you 20 ideas, okay? I'm going to give you 20 ideas. And these ideas are things that when you hear the thing that you want to do, first of all, you're going to have to go look it up to see what it is in your town. They have these all over. And then tell us in the chat, in the comments, which ones are you going to try? We still have 29 days in this month. That's more than enough time to have an amazing month and to really show self-love to yourself. So here's the list of 20 things. As a matter of fact, I got 21 things. Number one, how about you go to a festival? They have festivals. It's about to be the beginning of summer. We're in spring. Put in to your Google search festivals in your state. and watch what comes up and read what it says. What about go to a winery? When was the last time you went to a winery? When was the last time you went to a winery? And you'll be amazed at how many new wineries are are open now. So if you put in wineries in your state, watch the list that comes up. A lot of times we only know about that one winery. We don't know about the other 23 that are not far from us because we only talk to people who've been to that one winery. What about having a girls' night in? Let's create a girls' night. Call some of your girls, put some games together, have some fun. Stop with this image of who you are, who you think you need to be, how you think you need to show up. When they walk through the door, in order to get in, you got to take a shot. I'm just saying, if you don't drink, that's fine. But like some of us, we just need to have a little fun. We're going to play Uno. We're going to play spades. We're going to play whatever it is. We got an actual game called the drinking game. And when I say the game is hilarious, it is hilarious. So have a girls' night in. What's the movie that you all want to see? Maybe it's a trilogy. What is the thing? I know for me, when Bridgerton comes out, it comes out on May 13th. I'm gonna wait for the episodes to drop, and then we having a Bridgerton day, a day, not a night. So that means that I'm sending out invites. The people will be invited. We're gonna have a Bridgerton tea here at the house. We're gonna watch all 6 of the episodes back to back. We're gonna have food already prepared. We're gonna have us an amazing time. In between the episodes, we're gonna pause to do a little brief discussion because we like to talk about it, and then we're gonna start the next episode. You can create this for yourself. What about a solo spa day? That's number 4. A solo spa day. Maybe you want to do a solo spa day. And don't play yourself. Like, I encourage everybody. Now, I don't know what the locations are in your city, but baby, when I tell you the Four Seasons, their spa is not like other spas. I'm just saying. I get massages every month, and then people at that Four Seasons got some magical hands. The whole process is totally different, first of all. And you can stay there all day. You can get in the sauna, you can get in the hot tub, you can read your book. Ours is on a rooftop, so and it's enclosed, so I can lay out and read a book on the rooftop. Your tea and all of that is included. They have a restaurant that's attached to it. You can go grab something to eat, or you can have it delivered to you. I'm just saying, a solo spa day. Number five, they got all of these new places popping up, but you've been so busy, you haven't even been able to see what new places are popping up. Go visit you a rooftop happy hour. Oh my goodness. Like I'm in St. Louis, and so we have probably right now 10 to 15 new rooftop experiences that have opened. And so I went to Westport 360 rooftop experience last month. Beautiful with the fire pits. Oh, it was an amazing vibe. Like the vibe was really good. The music was perfect. The people, you had to put on a little something. You couldn't just show up like this. Like I couldn't go in this. But it was a great vibe, and I got to talk to people. I got to laugh, have a dope conversation. Try it out, y'all. That's number 5. Number 6, what about a museum or aquarium? So here in St. Louis, we have what used to be our Union Station that they turned into the aquarium, and I hadn't been, and it was amazing. Instead of rushing in, I took the day and I was like, I'm going. I want to see. They have a milkshake shop, a milk steak, old fashioned milkshakes. And I'm telling you, it was beautiful. I wouldn't have known because we're always so busy taking care of other people. What about a new fitness class? Let me tell y'all the new fitness class I want to join. It's called rowing. Like when you're rowing a boat, I want to do rowing. I just, for some reason, think that's going to be fun. But the kick to it is hip hop rowing. So you got the screen in front of you, the music going, and you pick an artist to row to, and they play this unique combination of songs that keep you on beat. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So maybe you want to try a new fitness class. Number 8, attend a party. We good at saying no to parties, no to all of the invites. Let's make it a point to say yes. Let's make it a point to say yes. Now, I will be honest. I said yes last week, And girl, I didn't go to that because I was tired and it was at 11 o'clock at night and I wasn't doing that. But when I was told about it, I initially said yes because I did want to do it. It did sound fun, but my body said no at 11 o'clock at night. So what did that tell me? That told me that, girl, you can't do these 11 o'clock parties. You need an 11 a.m. and not an 11 p.m. So I'm up for day parties, them 11 p.m. night parties. I can go to a 7 p.m. night party, but that party started at 11 p.m. That was too much. Number 9, try a new restaurant. Is new restaurants opening up? Try a new restaurant. Why do we have to keep doing the same thing over and over, going to our favorite restaurant? Let's find a new favorite restaurant. Let's try a new restaurant. Number 10, the weather is getting amazing. It's beautiful right now. It's beautiful outside. How about have a picnic in the park? How about you take your blanket? Because remember, we're having a radical love affair. See, you got to remember that you're having a radical love affair. You can't just do like little simple stuff. You got to treat yourself the way you want somebody else to treat you, the way you expect other people to treat you. You're going to show yourself that you are well loved. And well loved people have amazing things to happen to them that show them that they are loved. And so I want you to show yourself that you're loved. Have yourself a picnic in the park. Take your little speaker, your little Bluetooth speaker, play you some music, have you some glasses, have you some wine or some juice, have you, take your lunch, whatever you want to have. Number 11, try a new brunch spot. Try a new brunch spot. There are places that are open for brunch that are not open for dinner. Try a new brunch spot. Number 12, take a day trip. Take a day trip. How about that? How about that? You can go, it's places right there in your town where you can take a day trip to. We have a national park that's here. It's about 40 miles out. That would be an amazing day trip for me. Number 13, here's a simple one. Make a homemade pizza. Make a homemade pizza. You deserve it. Put all of your favorite toppings on it. Make it the way that you want it. You know how you get ready to order a pizza and some of the stuff they can do, but some of the stuff they can't. Or if you put all 16 of the ingredients on it, it's going to make the pizza $48 and the pizza ain't really worth $48. So then you take off some of the toppings that you don't want. Okay, so let's do a homemade pizza and make it the way you want to make it. Make the crust as buttery as you want to make it. Make it the way that you desire it. Put all of the toppings on it that you want. If you want pineapples, if you want onions, if you want bell peppers, if you want jalapenos, if you want Canadian bacon, make it the way you want and make it fun for yourself. Make you a homemade pizza. Number 14. Number 14. This is a good one. Take yourself on an ice cream date. I did this not too long ago, and they have this new place here, and you all probably have them there too. It was new to me. Those alcohol infused ice cream parlors, but even if you don't do the alcohol infused, they have the dairy free ones. They have the gluten free ones. They have all of these new ice cream places. So I actually went to the one where they have the dairy free ice cream. Really shocking and amazed at the flavors. So I'm saying, try it out. They have new places you haven't looked. Okay, so number 15, go to a professional sporting event. Is there a sport that you like? Why have you not been? Let's go to a professional sporting event. Number 16, go to a concert. What concert do you want to see? What concert is in your town? You probably don't know. Put in upcoming concerts in your state, and it'll give you a listing of concerts and comedy shows. That's number 18 is a comedy show. So we have Cat Williams, who is on tour right now. We have Kevin Hart, who's starting his tour. We have Wanda Sykes. We have Mike Epps. We have all these people. They have so many. And I'll also say this because even if you can't do the big major comedy show, I have a comedy spot right across from me. It's called Helium Comedy. And they bring in great artists, great comedians, and it doesn't cost that $100, $200. Oh, thank you, Reggie. He said good advice, not just for the ladies. Absolutely, not just for the ladies. So try a comedy show, and it doesn't have to be the big expensive ones. Go to your Laugh Factory or your Laugh Spot and give it a try. Don't just say no because you don't see that headliner that you were looking for. And here's one for all of my people who love karaoke. Why you ain't been to a karaoke night? Why you ain't been to a karaoke night? Huh? Let's go to a karaoke night. Y'all know y'all love karaoke. Let's go to a karaoke night. Number 19, go to a movie. You know what I love? I love going to the movie theater that has the reclining chairs, the recliners, where they bring the food to your chair. I take my blanket, I cover myself up, I have my socks on, and I have on some slides so that I can lay out, recline back, press my button. They bring my food to my chair. I can lay back and I can watch my movie on the big screen. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to worry about anything. Me and my boys, we love going to the movies together. So, what's the movie that you want to see this summer? What movie are you waiting on? But what movie is even playing? Have you been to AMC to see? Have you been to have you pulled it up online to even see? Number 20 is a spoken word event or poetry night. Some of you all used to love poetry. Don't sit and act like you didn't love poetry. Don't even do that. You used to love poetry. And then you got grown. You got consumed with your work. You got consumed with your kids. You got consumed with your spouse. You got consumed with your church. You got consumed with all of these other things. And now you don't do any other things that you love. Girl, go on over to that poetry night. And then the last one, this is one that we are doing, ballroom dancing. Some of y'all know that you want to learn how to ballroom dance. We know how to do the other dances, but what about when you go to these upscale events? When you go to these upscale events, you got to know how to do more than just a two-step. Let's learn how to do some ballroom dancing and some waltzing and all of the salsa and all those little dances, just so you can be versatile, just so that you can, like when you go to different places or plan to go to different places, you want to be able to respect and honor their culture. And so when I go to Spanish places and Hispanic locations and out of the country, you want to be able to do their native or their customary kind of dance, or at least have an understanding of what it is. When you go to a black tie event, you want to be able to do some ballroom dancing. You ain't got to be all over the floor like they show you on TV, but you want to know how to do those things. But you also have to plan and expect yourself to be at that level. She says her month of me ideas are fire. Take care of me in May. Signed up and registered for 2024 Iman Live. Yay! All right, y'all, get signed up for Iman Live. I'm telling you, it's gonna be now. That's gonna be lit. And that's about you as well. Like, come and meet people, get in communion with people, build your tribe. And when you come as a whole healed person and a person who is experiencing healing, you will see you're going to attract people to you who are the same way. Right now, if you think about what is it that I'm attracting? Why are you attracting the people who are always in crisis situations? That's because that's what you're attracting. That's what you're putting out, that you like to fix people. You like to take care of people. You like to solve other people's problems. You like to take control. And so that gravitates to you. And so what are you attracting? One of the things that I realized when I was in the school system, I was this is how I knew I had a problem. Let me tell you, this is how I knew I had a problem. I was attracting people to me that were complaining. They were always complaining about the school system. They were always talking about, what was wrong, what was negative. They were always complaining. They were always negative. There was nothing that ever went right. They could never identify the things that were going good. And I said to once I realized it, one time I just sat and I just listened to the words that were coming out of their mouths, like the actual word, not what it is in context. None of it was positive. And I had to say to myself, you done created a little group of people who hang out with you, but all they do is complain about the superintendent. All they do is complain about the teachers. All they do is complain, complain, complain. What did you do to attract that to you? And I had to own it. I had to own it. That's because I was complaining. That's because I was always pointing out what was wrong. That's because I was judging and being judgmental. That's because I was in a negative space. I was frustrated. I was angry and I wanted things to change. And so, since I couldn't create the change, I would just talk about the things that needed to change. Well, it in turn attracted people to me who also felt the same way. Well, then I wanted out because I was like, they complain too much. But then I realized, oh, sis, that's you complaining too. That's you complaining too. And so then I had to come to terms and own my stuff and say, I'm not complaining anymore. I'm in this situation. I'm not going to focus on the things that are wrong with the situation. I'm just going to focus on the things that are going well. I'm going to take my focus off of all of the things that are going wrong and I'm going to focus on the things that are going good. You know what happened when I did that? When they would come to me and they'd be like, "Oh, did you hear what she said in that meeting this morning?" And I would say something like, "But she did have a great point." And I'm just happy that she was able to get us to look at that. Girl, now you know that was a bunch of BS. Well, it's another way you could look at that. So let's try to work on this thing instead of focusing on that thing. And guess what those people slowly start doing? They stop coming over there talking to Dr. D. They stop hanging out with me. They stop engaging me because they said, "Oh, she don't want to talk about people no more. Oh, she don't want to talk about what all this stuff that's going wrong in the school system. Oh, she don't want to talk about these bad kids no more." That when you don't want to do that no more, the people who still doing that thing, but I had to own the fact that it was me. I attracted that to me. And then once I changed my mindset and stopped focusing on everything that was wrong, start focusing on things that could be better. But that started with me owning the fact that I complain a lot. I complain. And I point stuff out that don't have to be pointed out. And so I had to own that. And I had to ask myself, why do you do that? And then I had to come up with a strategy to not do that. Sometimes you just need to be quiet. You don't always have to point stuff out. You don't have to be the one to say something. You can just sit back and understand that two truths can exist at the same time. And just because that's not your truth, that does not mean that's not their truth. And I really had to own my ish. And once I owned my ish, but I could only own it once I healed myself, once I did the work on myself, once I realized that I want people to not judge me. I want to appear to be perfect. I want to be right all the time and all these things. And then I had to own my stuff. And then I had to come to the root cause of that. And then I had to come up with a new behavior. And a lot of times that new behavior was you ain't always got to say something. When it's necessary for you to say something, you can say something. And if you know that you're going to say something that may take people by surprise, and they are not, because in this day and age people are not accustomed to hearing the truth. So I'm not saying you got to sugarcoat what you're saying. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, in this day and age, people would rather you lie to them than to tell you the truth. They will absolutely rather you lie to them than to tell them the truth. And so I let them make a choice. When they come to me and they ask my opinion, I will ask them, do you want the truth or do you want to just vent? Do you want my opinion or are you looking to just vent? No, I want you to tell me. Okay, well, don't ask for me to tell you if you don't want me to tell you the truth because you might not like what I'm going to say. And I let them know, no, I'm not going to fall into this trap of we gonna let the lie be more valuable than the truth. That goes against my own value system. But I also understand that two truths can exist at the same time. And just because I'm in one reality doesn't mean they're in that same reality. They're in their reality, and that's okay. And so that's why we have to stop trying to defend. That's why we have to be willing to let things go. And that was really the way that I stopped eliminating people from my life because I don't judge people. I do my very best to not judge people. If that's what you want to do, that's the choice that you've made. You're going to have to live with the consequences, not me, because there are some things that I'm going to do that you're not going to approve of. And we can all be okay with that. And so letting people be who they are. But if you know who you are, the problem is we don't know who we are because we've made ourselves so small. We have adjusted and compromised ourselves to a level that we don't know who we are. We don't know what we stand for. We don't know what we love. We don't know how we show up. We don't even know how to be authentic. The right person show up and you change the whole way you talk. You went from talking regular to this amazingly proper woman who speaks the Queen's English in perfect range. That's not who you are. That's not who you are. We don't have to squash our culture and how we live because we come in contact with somebody else. So we have been making ourselves so small. We've been so busy trying to prove ourselves to other people. We've been so busy trying to make sure that people know that we are valuable, that we are good at what we do, that we show up on 10 all the time. We don't even know who we are anymore. We are who they said we are. We show up the way they said we should show up. We can't even be vulnerable and say that I'm hurting. I need help. I need some support today. I can't do this today. I need a mental health day. I'm exhausted. I need to quit this job. I'm in a toxic relationship. We can't say those things because then people will think that we're incapable. And so we keep living up to these other people's expectations. And then we go into this defending and trying to prove people wrong. Think about a lot of our achievements came because we were trying to prove you wrong. We were working to prove you wrong. And so that's what propelled us into success. They said you was going to be pregnant by the time you were 15. And so you made sure that you didn't get pregnant until you was 25. They said you wasn't going to never be nothing. And so you worked super hard to be something. They said your husband wasn't no good. You stayed in that marriage as long as you could to try to prove to them that you had a good husband. They told you that your son was a thug. You tried your best to prove to them that your son wasn't a thug. We ain't got to prove stuff to people. We got to stop defending. We got to stop. We have to stop this. We created this. Let's own it. We created this. And it came from when we were kids. When the teacher told you, you wrote that paper really good and she gave you that star and she put it on the board. You wanted that feeling again. When your mom bragged about them straight A's you were getting, you wanted to make sure you got them straight A's again so she could brag on you. When your parents told you they were proud of you because of the way you played in that game, you kept trying to get that reinforcement. And it went all the way into our adulthood till we got to the point where we lost ourselves trying to make sure that everybody else saw us in a certain way. But it's time that we get back to who we are. It's time that we get back to our true us. It's time that we go deeper. And in order to go deeper, you got to stop some things. You got to get clear. You got to love yourself and listen to yourself. And I'm telling you, you're going to receive some divine messages. You got to stop wanting people to see you in a certain way. You ain't got to prove to them you're doing good. You ain't got to prove to them. Some of us went out and got a certain car so that we can prove to people that we're doing good. They told you teachers are broke. You're going to prove to them that teachers are not broke. We got to take ownership of our stuff. And when we take ownership of that, it's going to allow us to get to the next level of who we are. We're going to accept that some people will never know this version of us. And it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay with being the villain. For some of us, all of us, we're going to be the villain in somebody's story. I'm willing to be the villain. But baby, I'm telling you what, I'm going out like John Wick, okay? I'm going out like John Wick. I'm willing to be the villain. And it's okay. And that's part of the problem. We don't want to be the villain. And so that's why we don't do the things that we need to do. We can't just let go. Let it go. I'm not defending it. It's okay. I'm the villain. It's okay. People know my character. They know how I show up. They know if I said it, if I didn't say it. It's absolutely clear. And then we got to get out of the environment of people who are not committed to their own growth. You got people who ain't grown in 10, 15, 20 years. They're still the same person that you knew them to be when you were in high school. They're the same person you knew them to be when you were in college. They're still doing the same things. They're still talking the same stuff. Half of them probably still wearing the same clothes. And this is who you think is going to help you. You think that they're going to move you forward? Yeah, it's good for a kiki and a kaka, but then what? That's why we have to have multiple types of people in our lives. And we can't hang out with people who are victims, people who somebody always doing something to you, something always happening to you. You're the common denominator. What is it that you need to change about you? And part of the problem is that we don't love ourselves at a deep level. You deserve to be well loved. In this month of May, we're only in the second day. Let's get the calendar out. Let's get the calendar out. Look at there. Get a calendar out. Be serious about this. Get your calendar out. Get your calendar out and write down. Do an internet search. You sir, if somebody else called you, let me tell you this. If somebody called you right now and said, girl, I'm looking for some activities to do in May, you would go to your computer. You could find every activity that's going to happen in your town. You would email it to them, highlight stuff, and do all types of stuff for them. But you won't do the same thing for yourself. That's what I mean by we have to love ourselves. We have to get into a radical love affair with ourselves. Think about what it means to be in a love affair. I want you to really think about these words. Hey, Care Cozy. Hey. Thanks for joining. So I want you to really think about what these words mean when we say radical. When I say you deserve to be well loved, what does that say to you? How does that make you feel? What does it make you think about? What are you imagining in your head when there is someone who is well loved? Have you ever said to yourself, she's well loved? Think about when you go, this is an instance, think about when you go to a funeral of someone. When you go to a funeral and you say that person was well loved, what are the things that let you know that person was well loved? And let's be honest, I'm not talking about the people whose funeral you go to and that person did everything for everybody else and never took care of themselves. Those people were well used. There's a difference between being well used and being well loved. Because people who are well loved, they loved themselves first. They took care of themselves. They did things that they enjoyed and they served from their overflow, not from a depleted place, not from an empty cup. They served from their overflow. So I got everything that I need. And now the stuff that's flowing over, I'm going to support and help other people. I'm going to show up for other people. But I'm not going to go to work 8 hours, didn't get but an hour of sleep last night, and then you call and say you need me to do so and so, and I go do it, even though I know that I only got 2 hours of sleep last night. That don't make sense. That's not serving from your overflow. We won't say no to other people because we don't want them to be mad at us. We don't want them to judge us. We don't want them, we don't want to feel the guilt. But then we say no to ourselves. So we got to get into the habit of saying no to other people in order to say yes to ourselves. And I just want you to think about, do you know anyone who is well loved? That's a bigger question because some of us may not know what that looks like. What does it look like to be well loved? What does it look like? Because some of us confuse being well loved with being well used. People used you for everything and they're sad that you're gone or they're sad that you're not available. And so we think that's well loved. That's not well loved. You got to have an image of what it means to be well loved. What does it look like to have a radical love affair? With yourself, not with somebody else, with yourself. If we don't have a vision for what a radical love affair is, how can you plan that for the month of May? How can you plan it? You got to have a vision. You got to say to yourself, I am going to engage in some of my favorite activities. I am going to meet people. I am going to get up. I am going to be fabulous. I am going to do these things and I am going to feel so amazing. I am going to have so much energy. I am going to be well rested. I am going to do my affirmations so that I'm always in a positive spirit. I'm going to attract to people. I am going to attract people to me who are high level. I am going to attract people who are doing things and not just these low level relationships that's only talking about twerking and going to a party. I'm going to attract other people who are business owners, who are experiencing freedom, or who are doing whatever they are, but they are free. I'm going to attract some authentic relationships. I'm going to be willing to be vulnerable, to say the thing, to ask for help, to say I need some help, to accept help. Some of us won't even accept the help that's being offered to us. I'm going to extend to other people to allow them into my space. What does it mean to have a radical love affair with yourself? It is May, it's the month of May, and I know that we all have it in us, but you do have to take the time to make it happen. You get to design your life. This is your life. You get to design it. There are so many people who won't even take the time to watch a 1 hour video. I ain't got time. I ain't got time. Right. But then we have time for Instagram. We have time for Netflix. We have time for Tubi. We have time to talk on the phone, but we don't have time for the things that will grow us, that will support us, and that will take us to the next level. We don't even have time to receive the divine messages that are trying to be downloaded to us because we are too preoccupied with everything else. And that is the problem. We're taking care of that in the month of May. I'm happy that some of y'all are with me so that I don't have to go on this journey alone. Yesterday, I had a 10 out of 10 day. Today, I'm already off to a 10 out of 10 day. Yesterday, I did all the things I said I would do. I took me a nice little nap. I went to the bank. I also had some good little text message threads going where I reached out to some people to build some social connections. I went to a birthday celebration last night, had an amazing time. That's why I was out late. I didn't get home until 11 something last night. Had me some good kikis and kakas. Had some fun. I got to hang out with my son. It was a 10 out of 10. It was a 10 out of 10, but it wasn't by accident. It was designed that way. I knew my day would be a 10 out of 10 because I designed it that way. I didn't overbook my schedule. I didn't overpack and put 26 things on my schedule. Today, this live was on my schedule. I have a podcast interview on my schedule, and I'm meeting with my mastermind group this evening. That's all I got to do today. Once I do those three things, I have achieved the goals that I've set for the day. And then I can think about the nap that I want to take. I can think about who I want to talk to. And if a call comes that I don't want to talk to, guess what? I don't have to answer that call. Do y'all know that y'all don't have to answer calls that come in? Y'all don't have to answer those calls. It's not required. I don't know why we think that because our phone rings that we have to answer it. You don't. And you don't have to send an immediate message. We got to get out of the habit of that. Be authentic to yourself. Go with the flow. Let go of some of the control and think about the things that you need to heal. Think about what it means to be well loved. And you got to love yourself more than anybody else in this world. Nobody else on the planet Earth should love you more than you love you. And if you say you love yourself at that level, other people should be able to see it. Other people should be able to see it. It shouldn't just be you saying, girl, I love myself, but then you limit yourself at every chance you get. Girl, I love myself, but you don't do any of the things that you want to do. Girl, I love myself, but you don't take any time for yourself. That's not how that works. That's not what it looks like to be well loved. And that's definitely not what it feels like to be well loved. Well loved people are not stressed out. They are not. Well-loved people are not filled with anxiety. They are not. Well-loved people do not worry all the time. They do not. Well-loved people do not overpack their schedule. They do not. Hey, Sherry. Well-loved people just don't do those things. I want you to think about how you want to feel this month and what things do you want to engage in? What are the things that you want to do? And plan it. Plan it. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to have another conversation. I'm going to have some more strategies and tips for you. And again, I'm only sharing with you the things that I'm doing. I'm just sharing with you the things that I'm doing because this year has gotten off to a great start. I've done some amazing things, but then I realized you're doing a whole bunch. And we want to get refocused to make sure that you are your main priority. And when I say you, I'm talking about me. And that's exactly what I did. And so I said, I'm taking the whole month of May. It's going to be all about me. The month of me. I'm manifesting some things. I am mastering some things, and I'm going to have some wild adventures in the month of May. And I recommend the same for you too. I would love for us to be able to talk more in the comments and in the chat so that we can help some people who may see this in the replay and people who may join later on. They need ideas. That's part of the problem. We don't have a lot of ideas because this is not something that we typically do. So I thank y'all for joining, and I will see y'all tomorrow, day 3 of the month of me.